Gagne's down!
Gagne is down on the exit of turn number 2. You can see now everybody's going to be going every direction. Oh, bike right in the middle of the track, and we've got crashes in turn number 3 if you look at the top of your screen.
There's something about that turn 3, like a little monster in there that comes up and just grabs people. I've had 2 or 3 crashes in that turn, like some nice ones, and each time I'm like, man, what did I do wrong?
So red flag as Gagne's going to try to get that bike back to the pits. He's going to be able to restart. Loris Baz, what happened there? So really weird opening to the first Hono Superbike race here at Brainerd International Raceway as Gagne was leading and had 0.8 of a second.
I'm like a little traumatized from the last couple of years because I go into that turn and I'm so easy on the throttle, I'm easy on the lean angle, and like just because I've had the experience of crashing when I didn't even know what happened, and so it's like there's part of me that's something about turn 3 that you got to be careful in. And
I think Gagne just fell. I heard something.
I did too. I think Gagne's down.
He did. Yeah, I heard it.
Jake Gagne has crashed out of this race, and Petrucci goes by. And there's a look at a fresh and lean progressive Yamaha in pieces on the ground.
Wow.
Gagne's not going to finish. Score 0 points. That's 25. We're going to see Petrucci back to the top of the championship.
Gagne was pulling away ever so slightly towards the end here, but Petrucci was still running hard, and it's a very uncharacteristic mistake now. We've seen that twice from Jake this year, which is not normal.
I was flying through the air with the bike split in half, so yeah, just move on. We're not talking about that anymore.
Previously on Pressure to Rise.
Oh no! Big crash!
Big crash!
It looks like Cam Beaubier and Cam Peterson.
Cameron Beaubier fell back to 3rd in the standings, behind Gagne and Herron, after crashing out of race 1 at Laguna Seca.
That sucks.
He crashed in front of me and I jumped his bike. I literally didn't even have any chance to even miss him or touch the brake or anything, and I was super happy I didn't hit Cam.
I'm so sorry for Cam. He's in a championship fight, and obviously I wasn't trying to crash in front of him. It's just part of racing, but I feel really bad, and hopefully he bounces back and comes back strong.
After chasing down Gagne in race 2 to get the win, Cameron Beaubier was tied for 2nd in the point standings with Josh Herron.
Cameron Beaubier, in his home state of California, under the sunshine, takes the checkered flag and the win.
Herron placed 2nd in race 1 and 3rd in race 2, despite competing with a fractured ankle.
My ankle, has a fracture going down it, and it feels worse than it did at the ridge. So I don't think it's because it's actually getting worse. I think that adrenaline's gone and it's worn off, and I know it's there. I know it's messed up, and so we're just dealing with it.
Now Matthew Schultz. Big high side for Matthew Schultz as they come down through Rainy Corner.
11 down, just past turn 9. Ryder is still down.
And that was after he set the fastest sector time of the race in sector number 3.
I didn't see it, but it looks like he'll sit for a bit. So, where was it?
Red flag, red flag, red flag.
Red flag.
All stations go red, all stations go red. We have bike 11 down, turn 9. Ryder is still down.
Red flag. He said, I don't think he'll come back. He said the rider's still down, so.
Matthew Schultz and Westby struggled throughout qualifying, and the bad luck carried over into race 1, as Schultz high-sided with just over 2 laps to go.
I just tried to get a little bit too close to PJ, came around a rainy curve to make a move into the final corner, and just, ran a little bit wide, spinning the bike too much, and I had one of the biggest hassles I've had in a couple of years. So, I mean, yeah, it was a big one.
Richie Escalante qualified P3 for his first front row grid position in his short Superbike career.
Really happy to start in the first row. I raced 3 times on the Superbike is difficult, especially 3 long races. So 20 laps at Laguna is a lot. I love it to racing, so I prefer to race 3 times.
Escalante took 4th in the first 2 races at Laguna. Race 3 at Laguna Seca is the official start to the second half of the season.
Having 2 back-to-back races on Sunday is going to be tough, but there's no better place to do it than Laguna. It's an amazing track.
We need that track time on this bike. There's a lot of things that are different from last year when Petrucci rode the bike. I'm having to run different gearing everywhere because we're allowed the different transmissions this year, and the 3rd race kind of like that allowed me to really feel strong, you know, today, having 2 in one day. Of course, the ankle and shoulder bother me, but it's there's always gonna be something that doesn't feel good, so it's all right.
You know, I think everybody kind of knows what I'm going through a little bit, and Richard just kind of pulled me aside. We had a little conversation, and he just told me, just trust in my ability and go fight these guys and take no prisoners. I kind of had a little bit more of that mindset going into race 3.
And we're off. And Gagne didn't really get a good launch, but he's making up for it, ripping through the gears. But outside goes Cameron Peterson. Kind of a repeat of the first race of the weekend, but Beaubier trying to go up the inside. He's going to give it a Campy.
Look who's in 3rd.
Josh Herron in 3rd. Boy, man, it looked like the number 1 plate was kind of caught snoozing a little bit off that start.
We made some changes this afternoon after race 2. From the first, second lap, thought it was kind of worse, honestly. Sometimes these tires take a couple laps to get better and better, so it was just a completely different feel than I had earlier today.
Beaubier makes the pass on Peterson for the lead, but runs wide, letting Peterson and Herron by.
I had the confidence to be able to put my head down at the beginning and see if I could run away. That was not the case today.
Killer start, whole shot at that thing, and led most of the first lap.
Will Josh Herron try to make a move up the inside? He does into turn 11. And does he make it stick? He drives out on the Ducati. It looks like a little bit of wheel spin for Cameron Peterson. So new lead change, and it is Josh Herron.
I'm in the lead. I knew Cam Peterson, I had just got by. I was like, maybe, you know, just maybe he'll hold him up a little bit and I can get going, you know, right? I had really good pace in race 2. When I saw the gap coming down, I'm like, all right, I'm still pushing hard, but settle down, be smart, bang out some consistent laps.
Jacobsen is putting pressure on Gagne, who is in 4th, trying to make his way to the lead.
PJ Jacobsen, who we saw was a DNF this morning, he is right now behind Gagne, and Escalante, who didn't get the best start he could have got, is back there, as well as Matthew Schultz. So a couple of guys that we're used to seeing a little bit further forward are a little bit further back right now.
Gagne and Peterson seemed like they could just get off of the exits a lot better than me, so I was spinning a lot, and we made some torque changes and mechanical grip changes to give us more power, but I think it made it worse for us. So yeah, it was like a huge bummer, and I felt like I just couldn't pass as well because I was losing grip on corner entry.
Herron and Beaubier pull away from the field, while teammates Gagne and Peterson fight for position a couple seconds back.
I'm not sure what lap it was, but I had a few big moments. Jake tried to pass me going to 5, he ran wide, I got him back, and I had 2 moments that same lap, and I just decided I better let him by and not ruin his race, you know, because he's in the championship.
Both these guys here, 43 points back, are both of them in the championship. It's a 9-point swing to Gagne. If you win this and he finishes 3rd, that's a 9-point swing. Those are the kind of chunks of points you need. So if you can get somebody between yourself and Jake Gagne, that's really going to help in the championship.
Matthew Schultz runs off into the gravel in turn 2.
Unfortunately, going over the crest of the first corner, the bike got, a little bit squirmy, and I just didn't have the strength to kind of hold it and settle the bike down, and ran off. And I was just pretty lucky to keep the thing upright, really.
The three guys in third, fourth, fifth, and even sixth were all quicker than the leaders a lap ago. This time they get down to 24.2, 24.0, but the next four guys are all in the 23s now, Greg, so the group is actually catching back up. Gagne for sure.
That was probably the most on the edge and the hardest I've had to charge all year, and I saw that those guys up there. I wanted to get there and get in the show.
On lap 12, Beaubier gets a great run through turns 3 and 4 and makes the pass on Herron for the lead into turn 5.
This is a nice, easy up inside pass, perfectly done by Beaubier. So now maybe Herron needs that little bit of a carrot to try to separate themselves from the advances of Jake Gagne, who is on the move forward.
When Cam got around me, I just said, I don't care what I got to do, I'm getting back by him. I'm going to make a fight out of this. I want to have some fun, show him that I'm not here to just let him walk away.
Herron is going to take a dive up the inside of Beaubier, and right now Gagne is loving this behind. Oh! Cam gets a little bit loose. I don't think that BMW will be able to go back by Herron. Herron will always fight back, and that's what we love about him.
This two-horse show getting ready to turn into a three-horse show. And keep in mind, these two guys are 43 points behind Gagne in the championship. As a matter of fact, they are tied.
Pit board just kept shrinking, and I really didn't want to get caught out either, like stuck in second and have Jake, come by. And if you're going into the last lap in third, it's pretty much game over from there.
And here comes Beaubier as he takes a little look down the inside 11, but now Gagne is there. So these two guys racing it up have helped Gagne.
So we have Ducati versus BMW versus Yamaha. 1, 2, 3 in the battle with the #1 plate in the driver's seat in the championship, trying to make up more points on these two.
Track limits, bike 1, plus 2.
2-second penalty on Gagne.
No way.
How are we going to tell him?
News coming in from race control. Jake Gagne has been penalized 2 seconds for track limit violation. So now if Gagne is able to get ahead of Herron and Beaubier, he's going to have to win by 2.001 seconds to make it a win.
What's the gap?
0.5 now.
0.5, we're closer?
The other thing to think about for Jake Gagne is Richie Escalante, if you see, is only 7/10 back with that penalty. So Gagne can't lose too much time or else he's going to go from third to right off the podium.
How close is he?
Josh Herron trying to grit his teeth. There's opportunities for Cameron Beaubier. He looks up the inside. He can't get it done. Now into turn 10 they go. Another spot that's really sketchy to pass. It's been done in the past, not this time. Now another opportunity as we go to the final lap of this race. Beaubier setting him up. He's on to braking. He sends it sideways. He gets it done. He parks both of them. Now he's going to get on the drive. The question is, does Herron have a good run at him?
Oh, you got the Cameron Beaubier fan club over there.
Beaubier's got some fans. That's not just fans, that's family.
This is going to get good.
But now we're starting to see that little bit of a gap, starting to pull away from Herron. And Gagne now is going to go past. He is going to go by Herron now too, but that is not going to be a battle for position. Herron just needs to stay where he's at. He's going to end up second if those two guys end up going across the line the way they are currently.
Boy, Richie Escalante is pushing so hard too that he's only 0.2 of a second away from the podium because of the time penalty.
So we're still fourth.
Here comes Cameron Beaubier to the line, and Cameron Beaubier will take the win here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, and Medallia race #3. And it looks like it's going to be Herron in second, Jake Gagne in third, just ahead of Richie Escalante. And the fastest lap of the race, a 23.391 for Jake Gagne on the last lap.
That was probably the most on the edge and the hardest I've had to charge all year. In the podium, they told me I was penalized. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't know, so I should have paid better attention, I guess. I mean, where's 3 strikes, you're out or something like that. I thought it was stupid, but that's rules are rules.
2 seconds for clipping the green. I mean, in the World Championship, they give you warnings. So if you want to impose those kinds of penalties, come up with a system We used to have meatball flags. We used to have red flags. We used to have black flags. The guys are used to getting flags. No warning, 2 seconds, it's ridiculous. That should have been a tenth or two at most.
I got a big family. I'm super lucky. It's pretty cool to have them all cheering me on, and yeah, I can hear them screaming in the stands on the grid, and I'm just like shaking my head, but it's super cool. It's made for some super special weekends here in the past, and it's just nice being able to have that back.
Went from leading the race on the last lap, I'm sitting in third. I'm a sitting duck, like not knowing who's behind me then, could possibly be off the podium. Put my head down, and luckily Jake had a 2-second penalty, I guess, and we were able to get second. So I'm stoked on the weekend. We got 2-2-3, 3 podium finishes. Got some nice bonuses, you know. And I'm looking forward to cashing, and we had a fun weekend. It's a bummer to have the injury, but I'm just hoping, man, that these are the times that make me stronger at the end of the year, and when I'm healthy, we can really push for some good results.
Jake Gagne leaves the triple-header weekend with a 34-point lead over Cameron Beaubier as they continue the second half of the season. Heron is only 5 points back from Beaubier in third. Escalante is 90 points back from the lead. Scholz is still in the top 5, but P.J. Jacobsen is just 2 points behind him in sixth.
Yeah, race 3 was kind of like a really hard one for me to swallow because we ended up getting P6. So, I mean, it's crazy too. We're only 4 seconds off the race winner, which was like, I think everybody was just so close. So it was pretty good racing for the fans and stuff like that. But yeah, I just got kind of the short end of the stick and ended up getting 6 from getting P3 yesterday. So yeah, it sucks.
It sucks to bring the bike home in 7th, but we got to take the positives. You know, riding around with 1.5 arms, not being in the best mental space. You know, I think we made some massive changes before the second and third race, and I think that we're going to take the positives heading into the final few, to the second half of the season, and I'm confident we'll be racing up at the sharp end of the field. I just need to go back home, rest, relax, and come back stronger.
Very good weekend, you know, P4 3 times, so good points. Now I'm P4 in the championship. I'm really happy. So for sure Laguna is a great weekend, but the only I need to improve is the start and the first maybe 3 laps.
Round 6 kicks off in Brainerd, Minnesota. MotoAmerica is back in Brainerd for a 3rd year in a row after a long hiatus going back to 2004. This flat track and tight layout provide a unique challenge compared to the other tracks on the season.
On the Monday after Barber, just bike sent me to the moon and ended up hurting my wrist. But honestly, it's not a big deal, so we'll get it worked on at the end of the season as long as it just doesn't cause me too much discomfort. Move on going forward and act like it never happened.
Shortly after the round at Laguna Seca, Cam Peterson announced he was cutting his season short and getting his injured wrist fixed.
Cam's issue has been lingering for years now. He's damaged that scaphoid before, and it's compounded as time has gone on. It's gotten more arthritic, and it just severely limited his mobility in that wrist. When I say his mobility was limited, you're talking, that's regular mobility. He had maybe 2 degrees, 3 degrees, 4 degrees of mobility in his throttle wrist. So that's where you see, if you go back and watch riding film, he's winging it, chicken arming. So honestly, all we could do is manage pain. That's really all we were going through. And that last round, we had to go over to the doctor before every race, 1 hour to 2 hours before every race, just to do what we could. The tipping point, I feel like, was realizing that he was accomplishing a fraction of what he's capable of. We've all seen what Cam P can do on a good day when Cam P's riding like Cam P can ride and at his potential. And time again, he just felt like he was very limited as far as what he could achieve on the track because of his physical limitations. And when that pain is bleeding over into the rest of his life and affecting his quality of life, he had a good talk with his team, and they're very, very supportive, and they wanted to make the good long-term decision, not only for him, but the team as well. So thankfully, we're able to get that solved now and start moving towards an actual solution. He is getting what's called the anchovy procedure, where they take out the bottom row of bones in his hand, and they will actually cut the tendon, bring it up, it rolled up into a ball, and put it where those bones are. And he should get back more strength than he already has, probably 60% more strength, as well as all of his mobility. So considering that his throttle hand mobility is maybe 2 to 3 degrees, it's going to be a game changer.
4-time Superbike champion Josh Hayes will fill in for him at Brainerd. The 48-year-old has been competing in the Supersport class all season and is 1 win away from becoming the all-time winningest rider in AMA history across all classes.
You know, I've been in the Yamaha family for a long time. A couple years ago when the opportunity came around, I wasn't really current, but now I've been riding at the front of the Supersport class for quite a while, and for the season at least on the Squid Hunter bike, and still in the Yamaha family, so it seemed like, you know, it was a logical fit. Right now, I know I'm going to be, you know, pretty hot and sweaty when I get off the 600 and I jump right on to start a Superbike race. And I just want to perform well, not scratch up their bike, and gather data, and if I can manage to get myself up close to the podium, I think that would be pretty special.
Practice 1 on Friday morning starts off with slightly cooler weather than the previous day, when temperatures neared 100 degrees. Cameron Beaubier hasn't raced Brainerd before, but a test here after the MotoAmerica round has him already familiar with the track.
It was backing in quite a bit going into turn 3, but I think part of that is that tire was so bad. It literally felt like something was wrong with the tire.
Right.
But I think it's just the way the track is right now.
Ready to have some fun?
Brandon Posh is taking things in stride after a positive Superbike debut in the last round at Laguna Seca.
I came out of there obviously feeling a bit fatigued, like I said. You know, I was laying on the couch for almost 3 months. Yeah, it was difficult, especially having 3 races right off the bat, plus 2 test days. So we did like 160, 170 laps in that week when I'd only done probably 50 laps since I broke my back. So it was a lot for sure.
Matthew Skoltz and Westby look to break the streak of bad luck they've been having.
It's just one of those seasons that all I can do is just laugh about it at this point. And I mean, this track last year wasn't good for me either. I ended up crashing, concussing myself in Friday practice, trying to race on Saturday, breaking my wrist then. So it's just Brainerd. I guess there's just something about it here that just hasn't worked out for me lately.
Did the EB help? You pretty happy where the EB is right now? Okay.
Turn 3 is giving riders some trouble in the first session.
Dude, it almost tossed me so big, like the 2nd or 3rd lap.
Okay.
I just like went to lean in and the rear end just came around on me. Like there's no entry there. If I start putting some lean angle into it, and the more I'm like, I can't miss this, the more I get this. It's like straight up and down, okay, the rear still comes around. I feel like I can't squeeze as hard as I want to.
Is the bike pitching enough?
Seems like it.
It feels like it's getting down there?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. But it's like then it starts walking around and I'm like, oh, I'm handcuffed, so I can't. I feel like I don't have anything to go any deeper with, right?
Got you.
In turn 3, that hard braking zone, like if I have too much lean angle as I'm getting in there with the front brake, it starts to have that kind of rolly, smeary thing, you know?
Okay. All right.
So that's going to be a big change for this. Whatever their starting TC settings were, it wasn't good for us at all, so I had to modify it pretty heavily for you. It's going to be drastically different.
So this is baseline of Laguna Thursday.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why don't I add another mil of preload to the rear and then take the whole bike and go like that on the springs?
Yeah.
That'll give you a little bit more feel on the front, okay?
Josh Herron ends practice 1 in P11.
The downside of this whole year has been, I feel like it's taken me a little bit more to get used to this bike than I thought it was going to. I'm comfortable on it and I love it, but finding the right setup, especially with not really being able to use Petrucci's data because we have the new gearbox rules, so the gearing is completely different everywhere that we go. That's been one of the most difficult things because it's taken us all day Friday and sometimes even Saturday morning to like get a good setup. And then when the race comes, I don't have a lot of laps piled up in practice like the other guys do, or they can just bang out a bunch of times and get used to the pace and try to improve. I'm just trying to get comfortable on the bike, and then by race 1, I'm comfortable, but I don't have the experience on the track at that pace that the guys do.
Friday afternoon session had some rain moving in and was threatening to change the approach for the teams.
Engine braking, I made some adjustments to the engine braking everywhere on the track where we wanted for each corner we're talking about. I also tuned up the TC on the thing, so the TC we're still funneling that down to the correct setting for that.
Looking at it here, the changes we made on the TC are definitely better. Like the thing should have been accelerating better from 5 to 6 and 6 to 7, but I haven't gotten to 9 yet.
Bobby Fong returned to the Superbike class at the Ridge this season aboard Wrench Motorcycles Yamaha R1. The 2019 Supersport champion has won Superbike races before, but not on a Yamaha.
David Anthony, who's been running the Superbike category, asked Bobby and said, "I'd like you to ride that bike. It's the real deal. It's current stuff. It's really trick. I'd like to get you out there and do it." And Bobby said, "Okay, let's do it." I understand that's a bike with a pretty good pedigree.
Yeah, bought it from the TAC guys last year, the bike they raced, and, running pretty close to that top 5, and right now setting 3rd.
The bike is cool. I'm still getting used to it. It's just so different. It's so different than any other big bike I've ever ridden. And it's a lot going from the baggers to Superbike, baggers to Superbike, and then like one end of the spectrum to the next. It's like, it's getting a little bit easier the more I do it. But the bike is definitely developed around Gagne. It definitely has a lot of potential, and I'm finally happy because the first weekend I was on it, it's like, yeah, we're making big improvements by the race. Race 2 is like, okay, hey, we have podium pace, but we're still back here. It's always like we're always like a session or a day behind, just because it's just so different. We're all learning together, and I still consider myself a Superbike rider, even though the talent in the bagger class is so stacked, and like I got Superbike riders in the bagger class, so it's just different. The baggers are going, and it's good to be in Superbike and baggers. Can't complain.
Josh Hayes transitions from the Supersport session right into Superbike Q1.
Okay, so we went up on ride height. We backed off the preload a little bit, so you get a little bit of pitch. That means the bike's still going to be the same rotation going in.
And a little more spring in the front.
A little more spring in the front, 11.5. Okay, so we went up a half a step on the front.
A few drops of rain has the teams waiting it out to see if more is on the way.
Is it raining or is that just flies? They just displayed the rain flag in turn 1, so it must be raining harder in turn 1 than here.
Yeah, it's like a mist.
How bad was it with the wet? Was it the raining? Was it not too bad? Okay. Yeah, so it didn't come in because of rain, so.
I'm trying to do the 600 thing, I'm rushing it.
Right, got you. I figured it'd take you a few laps to get off the 600 rhythm. Without a break between, that's a tough call. Just hop on and go. Yeah. Well, we've got a fresh rubber there, so try to take advantage of the exit.
You're going straight back over, right?
See if you get a lap in before the rain comes.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes open.
With 21 minutes left in the session, Corey Alexander crashes.
That thing came apart big time.
And we mentioned we've seen rain flags in turn 1.
Yep.
That's not a spot where I would ever think I would have to deal with or worry about losing the front, and I did. So it's not an ideal situation, and the guys are back over there building a whole new bike from the ground up because that one was it hit the wall, which is probably country mile from the from the racetrack. Coming here to Brainerd, which isn't my favorite track, I wanted to kind of try to bounce back, and today was good, other than you know, the end of our very short qualifying session.
The rain never really picks up, so both M4 riders head out late. And it pays off for Posh.
Brandon digging deep right now. Oh, he jumped up.
That's fifth.
Nice. Nice.
We had a good Friday, ended the first qualifier P5, like about half a second from pole position, which is pretty good for me. You know, I just turned up, so as a rookie, I was pretty stoked with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I mean yes. Beep, beep.
Gagne has provisional pole with PJ Jacobson right behind him. Fong is 6th, Aaron is 8th, and Scholz 10th. Gagne starts Saturday looking to extend his championship points lead later in race 1.
It's not as fun not having Campy here, you know, and like you guys know, we've been buddies forever, and we got our routine, you know, we're always in there getting ready and just chatting and just kind of keeping it light, getting our leathers on, and the incredible amount of talent that dude has, and I know how much pain that guy was in. Just wait till that dude is healthy, and I think it was the right decision to get that thing dialed in and come out swinging next year.
You know, being one of my best friends, it kind of sucks that he won't be here. You know, it definitely helps actually being on the motorbike racing, because it's one less foster car, but you know, it just kind of sucks not to have a friend here that we can speak, you know, about things after practices and talk about how the bike's feeling, what we can do. It was and has been a difficult season for us both. I'll be battling you again, buddy, very soon.
So I just told him same program, he's going to do a rollout, come back in, and we can check over the bike out.
Corey Alexander only puts in 7 laps in Q1 before his crash. He's back out on a rebuilt bike.
Whenever you crash at that level and trash your bike, you know that's just loaded an awful lot of work on the crew. But for Corey, they tested here earlier in this season. They found stuff here. He was so looking forward to getting here. And in that morning practice, he was a really competitive 5th, Roger.
That's a sign of a really good team in the Tightwitch cycle, when everybody from, you know, all 3 riders, all the crews jump in, help, everything looks good.
The M4 crew makes a mistake, and Posh ends up going out on the Q tire his first time out.
So we went out with the Q tire on first, just silly little mistake, and when I came back in, Chris came up, he was like, the bad news is, that was the Q tire on there, and I was like, oh God, oh no.
It was a letdown, but it was, sometimes the riders can't take advantage of the queue anyway, so.
How was it the first lap?
It was all right. I definitely didn't use the most of it.
Yeah, but we got what we got,
yeah.
So we're positive, right?
100%.
How's the bike?
It was good. I was just kind of getting my brain back up to speed.
Yeah, it's fine.
Get my body loosened up, get moving.
Yeah.
The boys are ripping already at the front.
Yeah, well, you can do it. You belong here, and go make some happen.
Yeah, let's do it.
He's gotten on the bike and he's done the best this quickly of anybody we've put on a motorcycle. And he's still recovering from his back injury. So you're going to see him continue to improve his fitness. He's doing a good job.
In the end, it was actually kind of a confidence boost for me, because I did my qualifying time on the race tire, which was still only within about half a second, 7/10 from pole.
With under 3 minutes left, Hayes crashes. He's okay, and the bike has minimal damage.
Sorry.
All right, fix it up. You get ready. So pivot back up for the race?
I think so.
Yeah.
Just steered better.
Yeah. We'll get that back up there. Get ready for the race. You all right? Looks like a pretty easy get off. It's like falling out of bed.
While Hayes was shaking off the effects of crashing, Scholz moves up to P4.
Boy, Matthew is working so hard out there, backing it into 12.
You can just see how physical this track is.
Well, man, Bobier just put together a sparkling 3rd sector. and he could drop into the 137 range. Let's see what happens here. Does he do that? He does, a 130.688. And the checker flag comes out. That puts Beaubier on top by 4/10 right now over PJ Jacobsen. Jacobsen 61 thousandths clear of Gagne, then Scholz, then Pash and Escalante.
Heron is still struggling to find time and ends up in the 3rd row.
I was actually in like a surprisingly good mood. Like yesterday, me and Chavi went and played miniature golf, which I don't ever do anything on race weekends. I just go to dinner and go to the hotel. And a lot of times it's like we forget how special it is what we're getting to do, and we let it like wreck us. And I need to get better, and I have been trying to just appreciate what I have more. But at the same time, there's so much pressure on us to rise, right? I mean, there really is, like the sponsors, the team, pressure on ourselves. Like we got to be at the front to make money, and when we're not there, it's just a bummer. Like you can't help but just be bummed out about it, especially when this is my 18th season doing this, and I've been trying to be as consistent as I can. Like today, the front tire was tucking all over the place, and we got to figure out what's going on.
Shortly before Superbike Race 1, Josh Hayes wins the Supersport race and becomes the all-time winningest rider in AMA history, winning his 87th race.
Wheel in the air, 48 years in the making, and Josh Hayes wins Supersport and takes over with the all-time win record, 87 career victories. What a run by Josh Hayes.
I am overwhelmed by the goodwill and the kindness of everybody. The fact that I could even be in this position, I don't even know what to say. I mean, I hate saying things that make me feel old, but I've won in 4 decades. I won in the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and now the 2020s. And the 87th win is really special, and I did it before Beaubier got there, so that was important.
Yeah, Josh's first win was with Team Hammer, by the way. Daytona 1999, so he was always hungry. And he showed up at Daytona, we had the tire, we had the bike, and he killed it. Man, I admire his passion to go line up with these kooks and put it to him at 48. So, like, yeah, we were there for number 1 and pumped to see him get number 87, and, you know, I'm happy for him.
Medallia Superbike race number 1 is a go. Beaubier gets a decent launch from the inside, but you can see it's Gagne, just like Jason said, sweeping around the outside. That was due probably to some dirty track and wheel spin from Cameron Beaubier.
Beaubier got off the line amazing, but it just wasn't enough. As you can see, the Gagne was able to go by, and so was PJ. PJ's start was pretty incredible also. Now Beaubier's trying to make quick work.
Oh, where you going, Cameron? Whoa! So Beaubier sets off a chain reaction, and Matthew Scholz has to get on the brakes and contact as well.
Matthew's got a problem, though. You can see there's a lot of smoke coming from that front brake where he's been nailed, and I don't know if that's oil or what that is, but he's got to get off the track.
Going to catch fire here. Okay, get off it, Matthew, get off it.
Red flag, red flag, red flag. All stations go red. All stations go red. 1-1, heavily smoking, heavily smoking.
Westby's bad luck streak continues.
Is there any way you can radio to make sure they keep an extinguisher near our bike? Because if it's jumping oil, you know what I mean?
Just one of those deals. No one's we can't blame anyone, but obviously Matthew hit the back of PJ's bike. The chain and sprocket actually took out the oil cooler and the water radiator, and then obviously ran out of oil and blew the engine up. So whilst unlucky,
The riders returned to pit lane before completing the first lap.
Somebody bumped me, then the red flag came out a couple corners later, so I figured like maybe I didn't see the end of the chaos.
I clipped Jake and kind of created this cluster on the first lap, but I was super happy I didn't clean Jake out or myself or anyone else.
Hey Seb, check the front wheel.
What I learned about this track, it's really easy to get sucked into turn 3, and that's exactly what happened.
Was that on the rear? Sorry. No, dude, it's all good. That was a blow up or something though, right? I don't know. No, it's all good.
Hey, we got oil on our tire, and I have another tire ready, yeah.
I'd be ready. Let me go get you.
Yeah, I'm prepping it now. Just get as ready as we can to swap that tire in case they let us do this. They're telling us right now they're gonna make us move to the back of the grid, but that's...
It was a pretty stressful start to the race today. The back tire on our bike got oiled down, so we had a bit of an issue with the start, and then we had a bit of an issue with race control, because race control thought we had changed the tire.
Clean the rim, take a look at the tire, make sure that impact's not bad enough that the tire's gonna fail and we might have to run it. Hey, 5 minutes. How bad is that tire? They're gonna make us start at the back of the grid if we swap it.
Yeah, I'll just use that tire again.
Okay, like how bad was it?
It was pretty bad.
I know, but like, did it come back at all?
Didn't feel like it.
No? It should come in. It's just a matter of how long before it comes in.
Yeah, I'll try. I'll try with that tire.
Okay, that's my thought, but I wanted to see what your opinion was.
I had a lot of oil leaking, so just like checking.
Okay. All right, thank you, Matt.
The season has just gone from bad to worse to hitting rock bottom. I mean, it's just been very unfortunate, and I don't think people know just how bad it's actually been. You know, they just look at the races, oh, he finished 5th or 6th, it wasn't a very good race, but it wasn't that bad. But at the end of the day, it's a team deal. You got to just roll with the punches, and hopefully one day I'll get luck on my side.
We're at 3 minutes.
I just wanted to stay with my oiled up tire, and I really just said, like, screw it, and I really didn't care. I just wanted to be, out front, and then if I crashed, I crashed from the tire, honestly.
A miscommunication had PJ lining up at the back of the grid, thinking they changed the rear tire.
Luckily, when they did the quick start procedure, I was up on the grid, so I was able to kind of get things squared away with race control and race direction to try to make sure we actually were able to retain our starting position.
So clutches are out. Beaubier with another good launch, but look at Jake Gagne sweep around the outside.
The starting spot on pole on the inside of the track, it was not very ideal. I got slotted back into 3rd.
Oh, Beaubier! Unbelievable! Almost saved it in the middle of the racetrack, and it was their contact with his bike with another rider. It was so close.
I rolled on the gas, and the rear end came around. There was just no chance of saving it, and I tried to hang on as long as I could, and it bucked me over the bars pretty good, and that was that.
Turn 3, where Gagne went down 2 years ago, takes down Beaubier as he tries to chase down the 2-time defending champion.
PJ is going to see his board say +2 or +3. Neither one of these two guys at the front are probably going to know that Beaubier is actually out of this race.
5-6 laps in, I saw Beaubier's bike on the side of the track, so I was kind of surprised. Got to bring this thing home no matter what, just ride the pace that feels comfortable, and if PJ, Heron, Richie, Hayes, like any of those guys catch me, then it is what it is.
Gagne and Jacobson break away from the field and push to the finish.
I just couldn't manage to catch up to him, to pass him where I wanted to.
PJ closes up on the back, and he wants to take one last shot at him as they go through this fast right. I don't think he's close enough, but PJ has put on a great effort, and they're going to get through this last lap. And PJ tries to square him up in the last right-hander.
Give it a run. Come on, fire that thing in there.
He's trying to get a drive on Gagne. Knows he's been spinning. So here we go. Gagne behind the bubble, and he gets to the flag first.
Gagne holds off Jacobson for the win. Heron ends up 3rd, with Hayes in 4th and Escalante rounding out the top 5.
I mean, I just saw Cam's crash on the replay, and it's like he did nothing wrong, and he didn't even look like he was charging and not accelerating. All of a sudden, the bike's almost backwards, high-siding you off. I've had 2 or 3 crashes in that turn, like some nice ones, and it was gnarly. The get-off was big, and I hope he's all good. I haven't seen him yet, so.
Cameron Beaubier falls back to third in the point standings, and if he's unfit to race on Sunday, his chance of winning the championship becomes slim. On the next episode of Pressure to Rise.
I've learned from past concussions and stuff, head is not something you want to mess with.
You belong here. You're sitting P4 on the grid right now on Superbike, your second Superbike weekend.
I've won 3 championships, so I know what it takes to be there at the end.
Come on, kid. 10 seconds out.
PJ Jacobsen has taken over the lead.
There you go. Nice. 15 more feet.